Hello everyone and welcome to Blue Spoon Veggie. In this video I'm excited to share two lovely recipes for Palmiers pastries, a very useful nibble for guests or a little treat for yourself and family, and as a bonus they're freezer friendly. I'll be making two varieties to stow away in the freezer, first mushroom, rosemary and cheese, and then a sweet version with apple, cinnamon and walnuts. Usually there isn't much room for comedy in cooking, but how could I not point out this cheeky little mushroom to you? Anyway, let's strip the leaves from just one sprig of rosemary. Time would make a nice alternative here. I always feel drawn to cooking with woody herbs as the nights draw in, perhaps some ancient throwback. You can have fun using up the rest of the rosemary by adding it to roasted vegetables, or maybe you'd like to give my parsnip and rosemary gratin a try. I'll leave the link below. Now I'm going to chop the leaves very finely, a lovely aromatic task. Next, on with chopping the mushrooms nice and finely. As always, full recipe details are in the description below. Sorry comedy mushroom, we had a laugh, but we have to part company here. Let's heat up some butter in a large frying pan. Add in the chopped mushrooms. These are simply white mushrooms, but you could also use chestnut, portobello, anything you like really. Give them a good stir around in the butter. Then add some pepper and salt and stir those in. And finally, add the rosemary sprinkles. Then stir again. The mushrooms will gradually soften up. This will take around 10 minutes. You want the moisture in the pan to reduce so the pastry doesn't go soggy later. When the mushrooms look like this, they're done and can be left to cool down. Unroll your sheet of puff pastry, and once the mushrooms are cool, tip them onto the pastry. In an ideal world, you'll spread the mushrooms all over the pastry sheet perfectly, but this isn't an ideal world, so do your best, encouraging the mushrooms to venture to the edges of the pastry. There, that's more than good enough. It's time now to grate over a snow shower of a firm cheese of your choice. I could talk about cheese for days, so I've made a separate little video about a few vegetarian cheeses I love that you might find useful. I'll leave that linked below. The cheese I'm using today is a sheep's cheese called Parlick, which has a lovely sharp flavour. Once you've grated over the cheese, it's time to start rolling up one of the long sides of the pastry, as tightly as you reasonably can. Roll up to roughly the middle of the pastry sheet, then turn it round and do the same from the other side. Press together and wrap back up in the paper. Then pop this in the freezer for 20 to 30 minutes. Once it's firmed up in the freezer, unwrap the paper and you're ready to start slicing the palmiers. Palmier means palm, as in palm tree in French, but I'm not sure I really see the resemblance. Try to keep the slices quite even, around 1 centimetre, but don't worry if they vary, as it won't make too much difference in the end. Once you've cut all the slices, you should get around 18. Transfer them to a lined baking sheet. Then bake for 18 to 20 minutes at 180 degrees Celsius, that's 350 Fahrenheit, until they're golden. The finished pastries are light and crisp, with a delicious savoury herby flavour. Serve them warm or at room temperature. If you'd like to be super efficient and freeze some of your palmiers, then you can either bake them first, then reheat from frozen for 6 minutes. Or you can freeze the palmiers uncooked on trays, transfer to bags once they're frozen, and bake for 22 minutes, also at 180 degrees C. Now, let's make some gently spiced apple and walnut palmiers. In case you only want to make either the savoury or sweet option, I'm including full instructions here, so you don't have to refer to the mushroom section. For this, I'm first going to make up a simple apple puree. I'm using a large Bramley apple, but you can use any cooking apple you like. Peel the apple, then chop into small chunks. Pop all those apple chunks into a frying pan. Add a good splash of water and some demerara sugar. As ever, full details of all the ingredients are listed down in the description. Next, I'm going to add a sprinkle of cinnamon. Ginger or mixed spice would also be lovely here. Give everything a good stir and cook on a low heat for 15 to 20 minutes. Stir occasionally, keeping an eye that the pan doesn't dry out. If it does, then add another splash of water. You can see the apples starting to cook through by now, just a few minutes more. That's perfect. Now leave this puree to cool completely. In the meantime, let's chop some walnuts. These should be quite finely chopped. Like this. To assemble the palmiers, unroll a sheet of puff pastry. Then we're going to spread the apple puree all over the pastry as far into the edges as you can. Do your best to spread it evenly, without adding it to your list of things to worry about. Great, now it's ready for the walnut crumbs. Sprinkle those over the whole pastry sheet. Hazelnuts, or maybe pistachios, would be a lovely alternative here. Time now to create the little palmiers. As I mentioned in the savoury half of this video, palmier means palm, as in palm leaf in French. Do you see the resemblance? Starting from one of the long edges, roll up the pastry, nice and tightly. It is a little fiddly, but don't worry, the end result will still taste and look great whatever you do. That's the magic of puff pastry. When you reach roughly the middle of the pastry sheet, turn it round and start rolling up from the other side. When you reach the middle, press the two scrolls together and then wrap the pastry back up in the paper. Pop that in the freezer for 20 to 30 minutes to firm up. Time now to slice the palmiers. Rather like the first pancake, I've decided that the first palmier never turns out that well. Never mind, it'll be fine. Slice into approximately 1 centimetre pieces, but life's too short to worry if they aren't particularly even sized. You will be able to make around 18 palmiers. My overly busy brain enjoys simple repetitive cooking tasks like this, a kind of mindfulness, I think. Once you've finished slicing, then transfer the palmiers to a lined baking tray. Then bake for 18 to 20 minutes at 180 degrees Celsius, that's 350 Fahrenheit, until they're lovely and golden. These are light, sweet and aromatic, and as happy served warm with ice cream as at room temperature with a cup of coffee. If you fancy being smugly prepared for guests or cravings, then you can freeze them after cooking or before. If you're reheating cooked palmiers, then heat for 6 minutes from frozen, also at 180 degrees C. Alternatively, you can freeze the palmiers uncooked on trays, transfer to bags once they're frozen, and bake for 22 minutes, also at 180 degrees C. I hope you give these recipes a go yourself and report back in the comments. Please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. See you again soon for more recipes from Blue Spoon Veggie.